Throughout my life, I spent a decent amount of time in my mom's office. Her office is not the conventional space of bills piled to the ceiling or color-coded binders and a calendar arranged with dates. It is not an area off limits to my sister Chloe and I because of important documents. Her office, to me, is an art studio. It had an arrangement of oil paints which scents filled the space. It had copious amounts of drawing books which filled with whatever came to mind. Her office was my outlet from being the new kid at school. It is where I could use art as an expression when words seemed insufficient. Here's one story that comes to mind. My freshman year of high school, once again, I had become the new person. I had new classes, new peers, and I saw new perspectives. Because of the anxiety that was not knowing anyone, losing my footing in a new building, and the overall stress that came with a new school, I went to her office and I drew a pair of Converse. Looking back on them now, they did lack some skill, but at the time, they were perfect. Proud of my creation, I showed my mom. She is an artist herself who actually went to college for fine arts with a minor in education. I remember her saying, "Wow, Casey, that's a really cool hobby." A hobby. That's all it was to her. Why couldn't it be seen as an example of my true calling, my passion? I mean, she even tried to pursue it. But my parents want me to be a doctor. Unlike my sister, who has never had the problem of fighting the perspective of our parents, I did. I believed them when they said, it's a good fit if you want a stable future, or if you want to be successful, you should be a doctor. I believe their views root from living in a society that doesn't equate passion to success. But unlike my societal counterparts, I will no longer abide by the standards of a society that oversees passion as just a hobby and views a steady job as a life well lived. During my talk, you will see a collection of my artwork over the past 4 years, so please enjoy. So first, let's talk about college. Many parents believe its only use is to get a job, but I suggest it's more than just that. As provided in an article by Deborah Humphreys, Senior Vice President of the Association of American Colleges and Universities, roughly 85.9% of college students said that the one reason for their enrollment was to be able to get a better job, while 83 of the same surveyed students said they also wanted to further their knowledge on topics that interested them. Regardless of their parents' opinions, it is evident that the youth have more than one motive. To them, the importance of college is not solely to get a job, but also to broaden their mindsets. Personally, I do not want to go to college just to get a job either. Don't get me wrong, that is very important, but it's not the entirety of college's purpose. I want to experience a new way of living and broaden my knowledge on other topics. My parents, on the other hand, well, that's a different story. Now, where does this difference in opinion derive from? It's all in the generational gap. My parents were born as Generation X, while I am a millennial. It is because of the different upbringing that there is a difference in opinions. As you know, millennials have adopted the stigmatism of the spoiled generation who have been sheltered from financial instability, compared to their parents who were the first to not do as financially well as their own parents. Both my mom and dad believe college is for those who dream of being a doctor or a lawyer. From their perspective, the debt would not be worth it for any other career. I understand where they are coming from, though, since both of my grandparents did not go to college or they did not financially support my parents in pursuing their own passions. Both of my parents also have grown up with their own financial hardships. Unfortunately, this has resulted in my parents losing the true meaning of working towards a future. This difference in viewpoint is also evident in the success sequence. It is said to be what we need to do in order to be truly successful. Graduate from high school, at least, get a full-time job and marry before having kids, in that order. But millennials, the assertive generation who question everything, are now breaking away from this cookie-cutter view of a life. On the other hand, Generation X, who have been the safe and the work smarter, not harder generation, are not. So to entirely get my point across, I must address what we see as success. It is no secret that our society revolves around money. We go to college to get a job, in order to be happy. To live in a money-centric society means to live where money is center of virtually all thoughts, decisions, and activities. Unfortunately, it is because of this mindset that some parents don't let their children follow their passions. Take me, for example. I want to be an art teacher. A perfect job in my eyes, but not so much for my parents. So what even is success? Do we really believe success is how much money you make, or how many floors your house has, or how many countries you've traveled to? Sadly, we do. We are even accepting and respecting greed. When one only cares about money, one neglects everything else necessary to build and maintain self-respect. This can even mean overlooking passion as just a hobby. I understand that this is not always intentional though. Living in today's world costs money, so it is understandable that we think about the cost for virtually all things. But I suggest we go farther. Success needs to be seen as following a passion, having the personal strength to do what makes you happy instead of what is monetarily satisfying. I am not saying that the careers that do have a financial aspect are not important and should not be pursued. I am simply saying we need to go about pursuing a career for the right reasons. Success is not if you follow your parents' desires or if you have a nice house with the latest gadgets. Success is doing what you love, not a love for money. I want to be an art teacher. Yes, that might mean I will not be able to travel around the world on my starting salary, but this is my passion. Our society gets so caught up in the work-life balance, we don't allow ourselves to have both. That's just what I'm proposing. I strongly believe that a job is not just a means to put food on a table, but a passage for passion. Success is not a monetarily satisfying job, but being strong enough to know your passion and pursue it. From my own personal experience, I know that a parent's opinion greatly affects their children's choices. Don't get me wrong, being able to financially support yourself is a large aspect of choosing a path, and I know parents want the best for their children, but I ask you this. Please do not live a life at the expense of your passion. It's too valuable to disregard. Please do not diminish your love to just a hobby. If everyone did this, all our society would have is replicas of the same generic idea. We would all live a life instead of greed, instead of love. So please, follow your passion. Thank you.